Time out. Oh, we don't listen to sergeants.
Okay. Well, the meeting to order. As a courtesy to everyone, please take a moment and silence any devices that may interrupt this evening's meeting. Thank you. Good evening and welcome to this meeting of the Mayor and Common Council of Westminster Incorporated, February 5th, 1819. We are gathered here at the historic City Hall, originally an estate built in 1842 by Colonel John K. Longwell. The city acquired this building in 1939, and it has since been the venue where the mayor and council conducts the city business. Now, we'll begin this meeting as we do every meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. The flag is in the back of the room. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. One interesting fact about Westminster is Westminster High School, which happens to be my alma mater and where I met my wife of 38 years and where the mayor teaches, traces its roots back to 1899, where it was first established to serve the growing educational needs of Carroll County. The original building stood near Center Street and quickly became a cornerstone of the community. Over the decades, the school expanded and relocated, but it has remained a symbol of academic pride and tradition in Westminster for well over a century. Moving on, the council typically convenes on the second and fourth Mondays of each month. Please note that these meetings are open to the public here at City Hall and are also streamed live on the city's YouTube page, as well as the Community Media Center channel and website. We extend our gratitude to the Media Center for their partnership in ensuring public access to these meetings. Copies of tonight's agenda and the entire information packet that the council will be using are available online on the city's website. Hard copies of the agenda are available here in the front of the room for those in attendance, I think somewhere over in that area. We will now move on to a statement for the record. We had a closed meeting on Monday, March 30th, 2026, in accordance with the general provisions of Article Section 3-306 C2 of the Annotated Code of Maryland, and without objection is noted that the minutes of tonight's meeting reflect the Common Council met in a closed meeting on Monday, March 30th, 2025 at 3:02 p.m. pursuant to the general provision Article Section 3-305B1 to discuss the employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom this public body has jurisdiction, any other personnel matters that affect one or more specific individuals. The city clerk Barber and invited guests attended the meeting. The meeting was adjourned at 7:15 p.m. We will now move on to a very special event this evening, which is the oath of office for our newly appointed council member, Thomas Baird. So Heather is here, correct? So the Carroll County Clerk, Heather DeWeese, is kind enough to have joined us this evening, and she will perform the swearing in of Tom. After the swearing in, we're going to give Tom a few minutes to speak a little bit. But Heather, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening, y'all. I didn't get a chance to say hello.
Okay.
I'm not sure where you want us.
Right there is perfect.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure, I want to make sure you have your best side. Okay, so this is pretty simple. I'll get slow. All right. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Thomas Baird,
Do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
and that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
and I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland
to the state of Maryland,
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently and faithfully
diligently and faithfully,
without partiality or prejudice,
without partiality or prejudice,
execute the office
execute the office
of Common Council Member
of Common Council Member
for the City of Westminster, Maine,
for the City of Westminster, Maryland,
according to the Constitution and laws of this state.
according to the Constitution and laws of the state.
Congratulations. If you sign exactly the way it's listed there, or right now it says signature. Sign.
The council president was kind enough.
Thank you, Heather.
Yeah, thanks. The council president was kind enough to let me say some words, so I really appreciate that. And I first want to thank Heather for coming here tonight and officiating this swearing in. And I definitely want to thank the mayor and council for their confidence in appointing me to this job. I really appreciate it, and I'm going to give it my best. The opportunity to serve the citizens of the Common Council is an incredible feeling and a great opportunity to do good for the town. Now, anybody that knows me very well, they know I love sports. I love women's basketball the best. Now, passing women's basketball is at the top of the list. We have two firsts here tonight. I want you to know that. The first is, some of you may know this, some of you may not. In addition to being the county clerk, she's also a basketball coach at Manchester Valley High School for 19 years. You know how it is when you coach so long. This year, the first time ever, they won the Class 2A state championship, 46-39. Another first is that we have a guest tonight that about 20 years ago, about this time of year, the Final Four for women was happening. And it just so happened that there was a player on Maryland named Laura Harper, who's here with us tonight. And they got to the Final Four. Who did they play? Duke. During the season, they split 2 games with Duke. So they get to the final championship game. What happens? Tied. They're into overtime. Right at the buzzer in overtime, guess what? Christy Tolliver hits a 3, and they beat them 78-75 for the first and only women's championship in Maryland's history for women's basketball. So we have two.
Extra play.
If you go to the Xfinity Center, you'll see the number 15 hanging up in the rafters. So Heather's a Hall of Famer at the Mount St. Mary's, where she was a 1,000-point scorer. So these are really top-notch people. And there's Laurie Khalil. She's the assistant coach. And I want to recognize you have with us tonight Janine Burkhead, the Adjutant General of Maryland, the 31st Adjutant General. To her left is a former Adjutant General, Major General Linda Singh, who was my boss. And we have with us Dave Harry, who's a senior enlisted leader who has a job that I had working for General Burkhead. So it's really great to see all these folks here tonight. Also have my little brother, Matthew, my youngest brother, and my niece Megan. Her father, I'll talk about this in a minute, lives down in Florida. So, congratulations to all you coaches. And I'm really happy about that. I grew up in Hagerstown in a blue collar family. It was a big family. We had 5 of us. I have twin brothers. They live in Florida. Myself, I was the middle kid. And then Matthew, then my sister. So it was a big family. My father owned a service station, operated a gasoline service station. My mother was a nurse. From the time she was 17 years old till she retired, worked in the same hospital. So really kind of an amazing lady. We all graduated. I went to Towson. I got a degree in geography, which was a planning focus. So it kind of was natural that I ended up here at some point. I talk about Hagerstown because it's really how I ended up here in Westminster. Some of you may have never heard this story. It's pretty good. So believe it or not, back in the eighties, I was involved in politics in Hagerstown. I ran for council in 1981. And my first election, I lost by 300 votes. The guy that beat me had, I think, 900. I think I had 600. So I didn't win. But after that, some of the members thought maybe I'd be a good planning commissioner. So I got appointed to the Hagerstown Planning Commission. Ended up becoming chair for a couple of years. And in addition, I got appointed to this position called the State Planning Commission. So I was always involved in planning. One of the things I thought is that when you take one of these jobs, like in planning, oftentimes you don't know anything about it. You're just appointed. You have to kind of learn on the job. So I thought that we needed to have an organization that could actually teach planning commissioners how to do the job. So we set up something called the Maryland Citizen Planners Association. And we were going around the state promoting this. Ended up, there happened to be a time when we were going to talk to the commissioners here in Carroll County and the 8 mayors. Okay? So I wasn't even supposed to do this event. But that morning, the person that was going to do it, she got sick or something. They called me up and said, "Can you do this?" I said, "Yeah, I can do it." So I came down here. I made this pitch. I think we even asked them for some money, which we didn't get any. And afterwards, this guy walks up to me. I didn't know who he was. He said, "Hey, are you interested in a job?" And I said, "Well, I have a job. I'm working for an engineering company." He said, "But we have a really good job here. I really would like you to apply for it." I said, "What job is that?" He said, "Well, it's a director of planning job." I said, "Well, I'll think about it." So I went home, thought about it that evening, and decided I'm going to go ahead and apply. So 2 weeks later, I get this job. September 27, 1987. So my first experience at City Hall, then the council table was a table that sat in the middle. The mayor sat on one end, council members on the other, and the other end was empty. It was different. But we always kind of go on the side. Well, that evening, the one issue that we didn't quite get settled up to that point was the pay. At that time, I was making, the offer for the planning job was $25,000. That's what it paid. I was making a little bit more than that, not a whole lot, but I wanted to at least make as much. So the mayor was being, God bless him, he's not here anymore. He was really being stubborn. So we had a meeting ahead of time with the council president, who I had never met before. And we sat down and, very kind of straightforward business guys said, "What do you think?" I said, "Well, I'm not really happy with the money." So he said, "Well, what's the problem?" So we talked through it. And then it was some expletive. "Leroy, pay the guy what he asked for." Well, that's how it happened. It was really funny. So that experience was, I was kind of on the sidelines. I was just sitting at a table, just like Mark and these folks are, just working here. And did that. And while I was here, I had 4 different jobs. I came in as planning director for 5 years, then became director of planning and public works for 15 years, then director of planning and development for 5 years, and director of housing and historic preservation for 5 years. So there's all these different jobs, learning something, in each one. And in addition to that, 30 years here, I had 37 years in the National Guard. So I had these concurrent careers mixed in with the 2 deployments to the Middle East, some active duty time, and trying to manage and do all this stuff at the same time. It was a challenge, but I think it really kept me going. I think is what really made me who I am today. So, I retired as the senior enlisted leader. And after that, I kind of took a break when I retired. I left here in Westminster in 2017. I stayed in the National Guard till 2019, retired. And then I needed a break, took a break, and then COVID came and the world stopped. So it was a really, really difficult times. But then, mid-22, one day I'm at home, Mayor Becker calls me and says, "Hey, the state legislature passed this thing called the Police Accountability Act. And the municipalities had been asked to recommend names of people to serve on this board." So I said, "Well, can you send me some things?" So she sent me some information, and I read it and got back to her and said, "Yeah, go ahead and put my name in." So I kind of thought, okay, this was going to happen. So I go through the interview and I get a letter back saying, hey, thanks for applying, but we're doing something else or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was pretty much no. So I didn't think any more about it. So about 2-3 weeks go by. I go out in the mail. Here's a letter from the county. It says, I open it up and said, you have been appointed to the Administrative Charging Committee. If you accept this appointment, you'll begin work. Okay. So if you know anything about the Police Accountability Act and all that stuff in the police world and elected official world in Carroll County, it's not a very popular topic. Now, I didn't know what I was signing up for, okay? Sometimes when you say yes, it's not always the right answer, but it is. So there were two different bodies. The Police Accountability Board, which you'd think would be the one that does the work, is kind of the public-facing body. The Administrative Charging Committee is the one that actually reviews the investigations, case files, body cam, and they decide, okay, we're going to charge or not. So started doing that for the last 3 years. And like I said, wasn't very popular, but I believe that at the end, we got the respect of the people that really mattered to me. And some of them were the biggest opponents. So I thought we did a really good job being fair. It was hard work when you go into a situation like that. But we did make it worth. Then I don't know how this happened, but I guess it was about right at the end of 22, Mayor called me again and says, maybe she emailed me and said, we have an opening on the Planning and Zoning Commission. So I said, yeah, I think she was actually trying to convince me to go on the BCA, excuse me. And I said, I think I'd rather be on the P. She said, well, you have to wait a while. I said, well, what are you talking about? She said, a couple months. I said, yeah, I'll wait. So it was really a great job. So I came in here. So suddenly, I'm sitting on the side, Planning and Zoning Commission uses the same table. I mean, just like starting to be a little bit surreal, you know, things kind of come around like that. So when Ann Thomas, you know, resigned from the council last year, some people encouraged me to apply for this when it came open. I talked to some of my friends, some of them here tonight, got advice and feedback, and they said, go for it. So I did, and I'm thankful that you all selected me because it really means a lot. I really, really appreciate it. So I learned a lot of things along the way. And, you know, kind of like I've kind of come full circle. Now I'm at this table as a council member, not a planning commissioner, not a staff person. So it's kind of interesting. But you learn those technical things along the way. Then I learned some of these, I call them like intangible lessons. And this will really hit home with you guys. So the first lesson I learned was when the door of opportunity opens for you, walk through, because it may not open again. That's the story of my life. Secondly, understand that every time you interact with somebody, it's an audition. Every time. Somebody's going to judge you and it's going to impact something. Third is, don't fear the unknown and unfamiliar. Embrace it 100%. Fourth, and these two ladies will appreciate this, your mentors may not look and act like you. Take all the help you can get, believe me. And how many times have we sat and how much I learned, you can't even imagine.
Oh, we still get it from you.
I have this thing about not really, I work on a 24-hour clock, but it's not like everybody else. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Work to build consensus through negotiation and discussion to achieve lasting solutions. And finally, working through difficult issues and situations with a group makes everyone stronger. So I was asked the other day what was my key belief? What was I going to do when I got this job? And of course you have colleagues you have to work with, but I said, and this was in my interview, I said, the one thing you have to do is simple, you have to take care of the big five. The big five are police, solid waste and recycling collection and disposal, water, sewer, road maintenance, and snow removal. These concepts are important because it's about the basic work of local government. People feel this, they see it every day. So you have to do it well. really important that you do these things well. Not that there's not other stuff like rec. I love rec too, but these things like this, people pay their taxes. They expect to get good service for it. In our focus areas, I think number one, we have to have a safe and secure city. That's the essence for everything we do. If we don't have safety and security in our town, I'm not saying we don't, but it's really important that we focus on that. Promote balanced and responsible growth that protects the character of Westminster in our neighborhoods and promotes the continued development of Main Street. We also have to focus on underutilized parcels so that we have that involvement in those to make sure that they do what comes out of it is what we want to see. And then we have these properties, we're a growing city. So Westminster, believe it or not, is the 13th largest incorporated city in Maryland, number 13. We're below Hyattsville and above Cumberland. So we're not a small town. We're actually a growing, very prosperous, good city. So we have to make sure that as development happens around our town, that we make sure that we have that input into it through our processes of water and sewer and other things. We have to provide, and you'll appreciate this, competitive pay and benefits to our employees so we can retain and get the best ones possible. We have to keep funding infrastructure. We have our water plant project going. We have sewer. We have all these things going. We have to continue to do that. If you're going to grow, you have to have the infrastructure. And finally, and I know council members will appreciate this, you have to maintain fiscal discipline that respects the taxpayers and ratepayers of Westminster. So I want to thank all of you for coming and listening to me. It's really a big night for me. I hope I didn't talk too long, but
You're fine.
but, I really
Give you this amount of time.
go. Thanks all for coming out. I'll work as hard as I can for the citizens of Westminster. Thank you very much.
To be the first to say this, thank you, Councilman Dave. How about that? How's that sound? So he already did one of my jobs, which is introducing some of the VIPs that we have in the room. I will say this though. I was a company grade officer and I ETS 35 years ago, and I thought my days of being nervous with a couple of generals in the room. 5 years and I still get a little bit of the heebie-jeebies. Anyway, so I'll skip over the introductions of the VIPs because Tom took care of it. I will say this, as we move forward the rest of our agenda, those of you that came to see the swearing in and Councilman Bayard's remarks, you are free to go at this point. You don't have to sit through the rest of the meeting because we're going to just get into business from here on out. But you're welcome to stay.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Congratulations.
Yes, yes.
No, I'm not leaving. I didn't leave. Well.
Oh, my phrase, right.
A bad one to have.
This is like this.
It's on.
Yep, yep, so anybody's basketball friend, they are my friend.
Okay.
By the way, they played a little volleyball the other day.
Tell me that. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and move on to the rest of the agenda. The first item on this evening's agenda, after that, is the proclamation from the mayor about Arbor Day, April 24th, 2026. Mayor Becker.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ask Mr. Depot to. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so this is the mayoral proclamation
for Arbor Day, which is April 24th, 2026. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And this holiday, called Arbor Day, is now observed nationwide and in the city of Westminster every year with a celebration organized by the Tree Commission. And trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil from wind and water, clean the air, produce oxygen, increase groundwater, clean surface water, and provide habitat for wildlife. And properly placed trees cut heating and cooling costs by moderating the temperature, reducing the urban heat island effect, and trees increase property values and enhance the economic vitality of business areas and beautify our community. And the city of Westminster has been recognized as a Tree City USA by the National Arbor Day Foundation for 36 years and desires to continue its tree planting stewardship. Now therefore, I, Dr. Mona Becker, Mayor of the City of Westminster, do hereby proclaim April 24th, 2026 as Arbor Day in the City of Westminster, and I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day to support the efforts and to protect and enhance our trees and woodlands. Adopted this 13th day of April 2026. Thank you. It's for you. And do you want to mention something about the tree planting?
I can't recall, is that Eric Switzer, the city arborist is here? You know, and he can be the one planting the tree. And he can maybe give the.
We're doing it at the city park, and it's gonna be a Okami cherry.
On April 21st.
Correct.
Is that correct? At 4:15
Yes.
PM? Okay. There you go. April 21st at 4:15 PM at the city park. We'll be planting the tree. Thanks. Thank you, Mr. Depot.
Tragedy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Next item on our agenda is a presentation from our auditors, S&B Company LLC for the city of Westminster fiscal year 2025 audit. Take it away.
Is it okay to stand here?
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Chris Lehman with SB Company. We are the city's independent financial statement auditors. I serve the role as engagement partner this year for the services. And I have Renata Reese, who is our engagement manager. So we have a brief presentation that we'll walk through. That'll be on the screen here. So just to start with the scope of services, so we were engaged to audit the June 30, 2025 financial statement of the city. In addition, because the city receives or expends more than $750,000 of federal funds per year, there's also a uniform guidance single audit. That's a federally mandated compliance audit that's been completed in association with the single audit. We've also are required to submit a data collection form, and that has been submitted one time. In addition, because of the HUD-related funding, some of the HUD activities of the city, there's also a real estate assessment center or REACT submission. It's also required to be submitted to HUD, and that has been completed and submitted. We also provide some assistance with drafting the financial statements. That is a service we can provide under professional standards. We just have to ensure that that does not impair our independence, and it does not impair our independence as your auditors. And then lastly, the state also requires a uniform financial report to be submitted with the financial statements, and that has also been completed and submitted. And then I'll let Renata go through the next few slides. There are some more.
There's more. There you go. Oh, hi, good evening. So as for summary of our results, as Chris mentioned, so we did complete the audit. We issued an unmodified opinion on the financial statement. So that's a clean opinion, the best one you can get. We also issued an unmodified opinion on the uniform guidance single audit related to the federal grants spent by the city. We did not discover any instances of fraud. It's not a fraud audit, but if we were to discover anything, would be then required to let know. We also did not discover material weaknesses in internal controls. And we did receive full cooperation from management, so we worked very closely with Teresa Rogers sitting over there, and we received full information from her and her team as well. What you see here in this picture, this is our SBC audit approach. We call it it's the 4CAM. It's a risk approach that we use during our audit. And it is formatted as a funnel on purpose. So it is supposed to represent the time that we're spending during the audit. We started our planning and assessing the environment and the business and the risks involved in running city. We spend a lot of time on that piece of our audit. We also then go into assess and test design and operations of controls. We meet with different process owners to discuss and understand what the controls that are in place and if they are designed appropriately and effectively. We also test transactions, so expenditure, payroll transactions, and so forth, to then be able to assess if those controls are operating effectively. From there, we go into our financial close and reporting statement analysis. So after year end, once management have their books closed, we can then assess the process for financial close. From there, we perform substantive testing procedures, basically vouching those balances in the financial statements. We also then assist management, as Chris mentioned, with reporting, and we do perform all of our audit procedures in accordance with auditing standards. What you see here on this slide is our assessment of control environment. So when we are assessing the control environment, we use a 5 interrelated framework. Those are control environment, risk assessment, control activities, information and communication, and monitoring. And I have listed here on the slide, I'm not going to read each item here, but those are the different aspects of each of those 5 interrelated components. And we have assessed that each one of those components are operating design effectively. And then when looking at certain key processes, so treasury estimation, financial reporting, revenue, expenditures, human resources and payroll, fixed assets, grant compliance, information technology. Those are the key processes that we are spending time understanding, performing our walkthroughs, performing testing of transactions, as well as performing substantive tests. And we have assessed them as effective. And then under the grant compliance, there is one finding that has been reported in our single audit. So specifically on that single audit, so as Chris had mentioned, the city has spent more than $750,000 of federal funds during the year, which means it was required to have a single audit. We have audited 2 programs as major programs for the city. So the housing choice vouchers, as well as the ARPA funding, so the coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds. And those 2 programs together, they are 99% of the total federal spending of the city, which is well above the required 20% coverage for the city. We have not discovered any material weaknesses, so identified, we have issued an unmodified opinion on compliance. And then we did report one finding on the housing choice vouchers, which is in the report that you have in front of you, related to non-compliance with housing quality standards enforcement requirements there. This slide is just financial highlights, some information as of June 30, 25 and 24, comparative basis for the total governmental activities, business type activities, and the total combined. So we can see here total assets. I know it's probably small, total assets, total liabilities, and then the net position. There is an increase overall in the total assets. It's mainly related to the construction in progress that the city has been working on the past couple of years. But besides that, it has been pretty consistent year over year. And then in this slide, so this is for the years ended June 30, 25 and 24. So similar presentation of the revenues and expenses. And again, pretty consistent year over year. There is a an excess of revenues over expenditures as far as the overall change in the net position from 24 to 25, so like a positive results there. So before I go into our required communications, I did want to open see if there's any questions that you want us to address in the presentation or financial statements.
Anyone have any questions? I have one. So the findings are, there are no material deficiencies, correct? You said there was one related to, I think the housing grant, but outside of that, there were not, correct?
Yes, yes, and we did not consider that one finding to be a material weakness.
It's not a material
No,
weakness.
it's just a compliance finding.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna take a moment just to congratulate our staff, because that's no small potatoes. And I've sat at this dais when there have been double-digit numbers of material findings in the past years, not with this current group. So Ms. Rogers, if you can hear me, that's quite impressive. So I'm very proud of you and the work that you've done, and appreciative. And I know I speak for everybody here, so a big thank you.
It's a joint effort with all staff, so I appreciate you saying it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I just saw Mr. Brown over there as well, so we do work closely on the housing.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Sorry, I should have called you out too. Thank you.
So then, our next couple of slides, I'm again not gonna read through them, but those are required communications as auditors. We work for governance, we work together with management, but we're independent of the city, we're independent of management. So we have completed our audit, in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards. The significant accounting policies used by management are described in the financial statements in the footnote disclosures. And we have reviewed those significant accounting policies and have determined that these policies are acceptable accounting policies. We have one past adjustments, audit adjustment related to income tax reserve. So we're required to let council know about that. We have not discovered any fraud or suspected fraud. So we have not identified, and again, not a fraud audit, but if we were being made aware of anything, we'll be required to communicate today. We have also noted no material weaknesses. As I mentioned, again, if there were any, we'll be required to then communicate to council. We are not aware of any other information in any other documents related to audited financial statements. So if there were any other documents with the information would be included, we do just ask that we be informed and we read through that information. We have no disagreements with management. We have no serious difficulties that we encountered in performing our audits. We have no major issues that we discussed it with management prior to audit acceptance. So really nothing negative to report today. And then as Chris mentioned, we do perform certain non-attest services. So we assist with the preparation of the financial statements, but that does not impair our independence. We are allowed to assist with those services. So we are still independent, say. And that concludes our presentation. I have here listed our responsibilities related to fraud. Again, it's not a fraud audit. We like to just mention that. And then we have our contact information at the end of the slides. If there's anything, any other questions outside of today, feel free to reach out to us.
So it is a fraud audit, you said?
Thank
Anyone have any questions?
you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having us.
Thank you very much. You guys do not have to stay for the rest of the day, of course. Okay. We will now move on to the next item, which is introduction of special guests. The ones that I had written down, of course, are all gone, with the exception of one. We do have one special guest here. McDaniel College started tradition a number of years ago under the leadership of President Jaskin. McDaniel has sent a representative to our council meetings during the school year to foster a close and meaningful relationship with the city. This evening, we welcome Jenny Glenning, Vice President of Government Relations and Administration. Is that right?
Yes,
Close?
very close enough. Associate Vice President, close enough.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm promoting. So the floor is yours if you'd like to speak on anything, McDaniel.
Yes, so things have been really busy on the Hill. Last week we hosted the 35th Tournament of Champions, which is a collaborative program with the Carroll County Public Schools that allows students who don't qualify for Special Olympics a chance to compete in some games. So there were a little over 100 students that participated, and it was just a great day all the way around. And we also had our second admitted students day last Saturday with over 250 families in campus. So I just want to note 3 upcoming events. Alumni Weekend is this weekend, which Sam reminded me of. And so we are so excited to welcome all the alums back to campus, and participants can check out all of the activities that we have on our website. The Entrepreneurship Challenge is on April 28th. That is also open to the public, and it's always exciting to see the creativity and the concepts that our students come up with. And lastly, we have our academic symposium on May 4th, and the schedule is posted on our website. We have ample activities that showcase the research, scholarship, and creative achievement of our faculty, staff, and students. And I wanted to mention, I am really excited about our keynote speaker for lunch. It is going to highlight Cody Niffer, and he is an alumni, and he is the current senior advisor for the U.S. Department of Commerce Office of Space Commerce. So he's going to be presenting Shooting for the Stars Together. And so given the landing on the moon last week, I'm excited to hear what he has to share. There is a registration for that. There's no cost, but again, if you go to our website and look at the academic symposium, you can sign up. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Okay, now we'll move on to our next item of business, which is approval of the minutes. We have 4 sets of meeting minutes this evening. We have minutes of the Mayor and Common Council meeting of March 23rd, 2026. The Mayor and Common Council special meeting minutes of March 30th, 2026. The Mayor and Common Council closed meeting minutes of March 30th, 2026. And the Mayor and Common Council special meeting minutes of April 6th, 2026. I have a motion to approve these minutes.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Dayhoff. Mr. Pecoraro with the second. Is there any discussion regarding the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, and the minutes are approved. We have 4 items on the consent calendar this evening. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Mr. President, I'll make a motion to approve the consent.
Thank you, Mr. Huff. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dayhoff. All those in favor of approving the consent calendar, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, and the consent calendar is approved. We'll now move on to reports from the mayor.
Right, thank you, Mr. President. I have a few items to report on since our last meeting. I want to begin by saying thank you to our federal delegation who visited Westminster and other locations in the area on Tuesday, March 31st. Senator Van Hollen, Congressman Olszewski, and representatives from Senator Alsobrooks' office were on hand to present the city of Westminster with a check for just over $1 million towards Pure Water Westminster. I was joined that morning by council members Kevin Dayhoff, Dan Hoff, and Greg Pecoraro, as well as several of our county commissioners and staff in the administration building for the presentation. The story has generated local and regional interest in water recycling, and I'm very much looking forward to the next steps for Pure Water Westminster. I was fortunate to be able to spend most of the morning with the senator and the congressman as they attended check presentations at McDaniel College for the nursing program and at CCYSB for a program expansion. On Tuesday, April 7th, I attended a virtual lunch and learn sponsored by the Maryland Municipal League on volunteerism throughout the organization. The information was provided on the different committees within MML, such as Engagement and Outreach, Legislative Committee, and the Conference Committee. Last week, I also attended the awards ceremony for the If I Were a Mayor contest, sponsored by MML, the Maryland's Mayor Association. There were 11 winners honored out of over 800 essays submitted for the contest, and these are 4th graders throughout the state of Maryland. The winners were given an opportunity to read their essay, they received an award, and were treated by a visit from the Speaker of the House of Delegates. Unrelated to anything mayoral, Melanie and I, along with Councilmember Dan Hoff and his wife Tina, were treated to the tour of the Capitol Building Dome by Luke Pitton and Dylan Goldberg, who works in the governor's office later in that afternoon. It was a little breezy, the weather was fantastic, and we were able to add our names to the many names that are in the top of the dome. Just a few other mentions. Cultivated is now open at their new location at 10 West Main Street in Westminster. If you haven't been in yet, please stop by. The space is amazing. And as always, Tiombe has a phenomenal collection of clothing, housewares, and gifts for any occasion. We have the wine stroll coming up in just a week or so. Unfortunately, I will not be in town that weekend. I'm officiating my niece's wedding in North Carolina. It would be bad taste to skip out on that, but I hope the weather is amazing for the wine stroll on that Saturday. And last but certainly not least, a very warm welcome to our newest council member, Councilmember Thomas Baird. I'm thrilled to have you on the council. I think you bring a wealth of municipal experience that currently does not exist among our strengths. And your contributions to the council will greatly benefit the city's future. So I'm looking forward to working with you. And that is all, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Now we're going to move on to committee reports. And of course, these are the committees that were in existence prior to the swearing in today. And under council comments and discussion, we'll do the new assignments at that time. So we'll start off with Arts Council, Mayor Becker.
All right, thank you, Mr. President. The peep show just ended. We have a board meeting this week for the Arts Council, so I'll have numbers for the peep show probably coming up at our next meeting. But I did want to let everyone know that the Carroll County Arts Council was awarded a full $30,000 public art across Maryland project grant from the Maryland State Arts Council to implement the Envision Westminster mural. And so they received the full award that they could have for this project. And so this mural is a partnership with the City of Westminster and designed to celebrate everyday life, landscape, and shared experiences that shape Westminster. Through a series of interconnected scenes, the artwork reflects recreation, family life, agricultural learning, and the historic character of our community, capturing what it means to live, work, and grow in the city. It will be a welcoming visual landmark along East Main Street in the Diffendall lot and an enduring piece of public art for residents and visitors alike. And that is all, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. We'll move on to Economic and Community Development. Mr. Huff.
Mr. President, the only thing I will mention is that I'm excited to see the introduction of the ordinance related to site plans on the agenda tonight. I know this is a topic that you've had some discussion about before to try to make things a little bit easier for some of our existing buildings that are downtown. So I'm really excited as the chair of that committee to kind of see this on the agenda. That's it, sir.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to Finance Committee, which I know has started to get very busy. Councilman Pecoraro.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, let me add my congratulations to Ms. Rogers and the rest of the staff on doing an outstanding job this year, getting us through the audit. That is one of the best audit reports we've ever had, if not the best, and very proud of the work that you all have done. So, I know it's a lot of work to, have no findings and all that. So congratulations, everybody. That's terrific. You'll see on the agenda later on, and we'll talk about it then, our budget amendment. We approach the end of the fiscal year. We want to make sure that, with the budget, everything that we've been doing over the course of the year is recognized appropriately in the budget, and that contributes to a nice clean audit, I think. So we want to make sure we've got that done. So you'll see more on that in a minute. And of course, we've been working, as the Council President said, on the incoming budget or the upcoming budget. I worked with Ms. Zimholz and Ms. Rogers going through all the government requests and staff recommendations. I'm pleased to say that although we haven't seen the ordinance yet, in all of our discussions, it's been made clear that there will be no tax increase for the year. So we're all pleased about that. And no recommendation on one. I understand that I know that the city clerk has placed on everybody's calendar the two budget workshops we'll be having, where we'll be having the opportunity for everybody to go through and have a good conversation about this. If you are familiarized or ask any questions you have, we plan to introduce the budget on April 27th at that regular meeting. And we hope to get it wrapped up unless there's any problems at the meeting. May. So hopefully. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pecoraro. Do you have anything for Personnel Committee?
I do not.
Thank you very much. We'll now move on to the Public Safety Report, which is mine in front of me. The Westminster Police Department is partnering with the Maryland Department of Transportation to enhance roadway safety through a series of targeted initiatives funded by a state grant this spring and summer. These initiatives will focus on key priority areas, including impaired driver prevention, distracted driving enforcement, pedestrian safety, and reducing speed and aggressive driving behaviors. This partnership will allow us to deploy additional high visibility enforcement in areas of concerns, utilize data-driven strategies to target problem locations, and increase public awareness through education and outreach. Our goal is to proactively reduce crashes and injuries while reinforcing safe driving behaviors throughout the community. These efforts reflect the department's continued commitment to public safety and our strong collaboration with state partners to address traffic-related risks in Westminster. I'm sure all of you have noticed a heavier presence out on 140, that's for sure, and that's all part of this effort. So thank you very much, Chief. And now we will move on to Recreation and Parks. Mr. Day, I apologize, it's Public Works is next. Mr. Pecoraro.
I have nothing, Mr. President.
Thank you. Recreation and Parks, Mr. Dayhoff.
Nothing this evening, sir.
Thank you. Technology Committee, Mr. Dayhoff.
Nothing this evening, sir.
And Intergovernmental, Mr. Huff.
I will just mention that tonight or today is the last day for the General Assembly for 2026. So things will be wrapping up tonight. And I just want to thank our lobbyists for all their help. All our items appear to be going very well. I also want to thank the mayor and Councilman Pecoraro for, often one of us three will end up having to go down to Annapolis to meet with certain people to advocate on behalf of the city of Westminster. And the mayor and Councilman Pecoraro are very helpful when it comes to doing that. I greatly appreciate their work in that regard. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Huff. Now we're going to move on to council comments and discussion. We'll start off with Councilman Pecoraro.
I have nothing, Mr. President, except to add my welcome to Mr. Baird. Thank you.
Mr. Dayhoff.
I'd like to welcome my longstanding colleague, Tom Baird, to the council. And congratulations on a clean auditor's report. I live with a federal auditor and I understand how hard that is to do. And I really appreciated the hard work of the mayor and Council Member Huff and Council Member Pecoraro with the Maryland General Assembly. That's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of law. That we really appreciate it. Thank you. That'll be my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Dayhoff. Mr. Huff.
I also want to welcome Mr. Baird. I'm used to having him up here with me on Planning and Zoning Commission for the past several years. That will not be the case anymore. I get to have you here instead.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard. Thank you.
Councilman Baird.
Well, I think I spoke enough tonight.
Outstanding.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, I have some business to take care of, and that is to introduce and appoint our new assignments for new council as it now stands, as well as the mayor. So I'm going to read down a little bit of a lengthy list to make sure this goes into the record. Doug, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we'll start off with the Community and Economic Development Committee. That would be Mr. Huff, Mr. Cavacci, and Mr. Pecoraro. Huff Chair, Cavacci Vice Chair, Pecoraro Member. Finance would be Chair Pecoraro, Vice Chair Huff. Mayor Pecker, Member. Personnel, Pecoraro, Bayard, Mayor Becker a member. Mayor Becker is going to be a member of the rest of these committees that I'm going to read, so I'm not going to say it every time. Personnel, Pecoraro, Chair, Baird, Vice Chair. Public Safety, Cavacci, Chair, Dayhuff, Vice Chair. Public Works, Chair, Bayard, Vice Chair, Huff. Parks and Recreation, Chair, Cavacci, Vice Chair, Dayhuff. Technology, Chair, Dayhuff, Vice Chair, Bayard. Governmental Relations, Chair, Huff, Vice Chair, Pecoraro. And of course, like I said, Mayor Becker is the member on all of those committees I just read off, with the exception of ECDC. Council liaison and board memberships, Carroll County Arts Council will be Mayor Becker. Community Planning and Zoning Commission will continue to be Mr. Huff. Magic Board, Mr. Dayhuff. Westminster Cemetery is no longer staffed. Maryland Municipal League local liaison will be Mayor Becker. And we do seat 3 members on the Town Center Board, which is currently inactive, but if in fact we do reconstitute it, I do want to get it into the record. That'll consist of Becker, Pecoraro, and Imholz, our city administrator. So that is it for the appointments for the upcoming year until the next election. And that is all I have, other than just to greet my colleagues. Congratulations. Yes, thank you.
Water sewer allocation is on your list. That's still ECDC.
Yeah, I did not annotate that as a separate entity in mind, and I'm gonna have to amend that. Thank you. I appreciate that, clerk. Yeah, so that's gonna be water sewer allocation will be the same members, which is Huff Chair, Cavacci Vice Chair, Pecoraro member. Thank you. I'll get that into these appointments. Or onto this list, I mean. All right, let me get back to my meeting agenda. All right, we have no bids this evening. We do have 2 ordinances and resolutions this evening. The first one is 2026-02. Whitworth.
Good morning, or good afternoon, good evening, Mr. President.
One of those times a day.
Been that kind of day, let me tell you. The first ordinance for introduction is ordinance number 2026-02. An ordinance of the Mayor and Common Council of Westminster, Maryland, amending the adopted budget for fiscal year beginning July 1, 2025 and ending June 30th, 2026, fiscal year 2026. I believe Director of Finance, Ms. Rogers, will be speaking today.
Thank you. Good evening. The city's fiscal year commenced on July 1st of 2025. In accordance with section 20-2 of the Code of the City of Westminster, the city administrator prepared a budget for the mayor to present to the Common Council for consideration. Ordinance 2025-05, approving a budget for fiscal year 26, was adopted on May 12th of 2025. During this fiscal year, the city has incurred additional expenses that exceed the current appropriation, and therefore additional appropriations are necessary. A summary of the proposed additions is included. The funding sources are as follows. New appropriations include $430,358.49 from intergovernmental funds and grants. This is new funding available to the city. $312,632 from general fund reserves, $383,166 from sewer fund reserves, $288,717.80 from water fund reserves, and $11,850 from other funding, which is a new funding source, for a subtotal for new appropriations of $1,426,724.29. We're also using prior year appropriations from our capital improvement plan or our capital budget. This is primarily due to not getting projects done in the prior year, so we're bringing these funds forward and utilizing them for requesting of this year. The total from capital fund reserves requested is $1,580,585. So the total request is $3,007,309.29. The staff recommends to the mayor and common council that they introduce the amended budget appropriations as detailed in ordinance number 2026-02. And as noted, there is a summary of all of the proposed additions attached. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Rogers. Let's go ahead and get it on the floor and then we'll open it up for discussion. May I have a motion to introduce resolution 2602?
So moved, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. May I have a second? Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Okay, now we'll go ahead and open it up for discussion. Does anyone have any discussion related to this resolution I'm introducing this evening?
Mr. President, just for the record, I think just as a correction, it's an ordinance.
Ordinance.
Oh, you are correct. I am sorry, I wrote this up wrong. It's a little copy and paste every time when I do this, and it must have been a resolution in this spot last time. So thank you for correcting me. I stand corrected. That is a resolution. Without objection, we'll modify the motion in the second. Now we'll open it up for discussions.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to note, for everybody that these, of course, are all items that have been before us over the past several months. They've all been discussed as part of our regular business. And, during those conversations, as we went through, we always asked Ms. Impulse and Ms. Rogers, what would be the fund source, for making this change. And of course, that's what we're identifying here in this amendment here tonight. So this is just rolling all that up together into one document so we can formally amend the budget.
Excellent. Appreciate that. Any other discussion or comments related to this ordinance for introduction? Hearing none, we'll move forward to vote. All those in favor?
I don't think you have a vote. No one's given a, who gave the motion?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. We don't typically put it on the floor for discussion unless I do, but just in case, I've been known to screw some things up, Doug.
I got voted.
I gave you a doozy that last game.
Yes, right, sir.
Okay, hearing none, we'll move on for a vote. All those in favor of introduction of ordinance number 2602, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, and the ordinance is introduced. And for our next item of business, ordinance 202601, Mr. Whitworth.
Thank you, Mr. President. Bear with me as I read through this lengthy title.
Better you than me.
Next is the introduction of ordinance number 202601, site plan requirements and procedures, text amendment and ordinance of the mayor and common council of Westminster, amending chapter 164, zoning and subdivision of land of the city code of Westminster, article 16, article 16, off-street parking and loading, section 164-112, compliance required, and section 164-116, off-street loading to clarify the applicability of off-street parking and loading requirements to site plan and simplified site plan applications. And Article 21, administration and enforcement, section 164-157, zoning certificate to conform with revised site plan and simplified site plan requirements. And Article 25, site plans, section 164-206, applicability, section 164-207, approval required, section 164-208, contents of site plan, section 164-209, simplified site plan, section 164-211, action on site plan to reorganize, clarify, and distinguish between site plan and simplified site plan review, including establishing certain exemptions and fee schedule to update and align fees in accordance with the aforementioned text amendments. And I will ask the Director of Community Planning and Development, Mr. Depot, to address.
Thank you and good evening. For properties located in downtown Westminster, which are developed and proposing a new use or change in use pursuant to the City of Westminster zoning ordinance requires a site plan and zoning certificate. For many of the developed downtown Westminster properties, there is no approved site plan on record. Therefore, a property that is developed and proposing a new use or a change in use requires the property owner to submit a site plan demonstrating compliance with the zoning ordinance for review and approval, which can be timely and costly. In an effort to reduce time and cost, Community plan development allow for the submission of a simplified site plan pursuant to zoning ordinance section 164-209, which is significantly less onerous and less expensive than the standard site plan. However, as property owners were proceeding with a simplified site plan, the private costs was far more expensive than anticipated. After feedback from several business owners and property owners regarding the simplified site plan for developed downtown properties, the city began reviewing Article 25 site plans, section 164-209, for a possible text amendment, specifically the requirements of the simplified site plan. However, during this review, it was determined that the entire article should be further amended. At the January 2026 Mayor and Common Council work session, city staff presented a draft ordinance amending Article 25. At the February 17th, 2026 Mayor and Common Council work session, city staff continued to present the draft ordinance, including revisions based on Mayor and Common Council inputs and further review of Article 25. The draft ordinance was further refined based on Mayor and Common Council work sessions and additional staff research. Generally, the ordinance for site plan requirements and procedural text amendment proposes to amend Article 25, reorganizing the article to provide for a better clarification and distinction between site plans and simplified site plans. Amend Article 25 to establish an intake procedures for site plans and simplified site plans, to define required contents of a simplified site plan, to establish a site plan exemption for properties in the downtown parking area. Amend Article 16, off-street parking and loading, and Article 21, administrative enforcement, section 164-157 zoning certificate, to implement amendments to Article 25, and to amend the fee schedule to update and align fees in accordance with the aforementioned text amendments. With that, staff recommend that proposed ordinance number 2026-01 be introduced for consideration by the Mayor and Common Council and be referred to the Planning and Zoning Commission for its review and recommendation to the Mayor and Common Council. That completes my report, and I'll be able to any questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Depot. Let's go ahead and get this on the floor, and then we can have some discussion about it. I'm sure everyone's going to want to make some kind of comment. So I have a motion for the introduction of ordinance number 2601.
So moved, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Pecoraro.
I'll second.
Mr. Huff, was that you? Thank you, Mr. Huff, for the second. Okay, let's go ahead and open it up for some discussions.
President,
Yes, Mr. Pecoraro.
I just want to say briefly, because I know we'll have more time to, talk about this when we bring it back for adoption. I just want to thank you for initiating this and leading us through a lengthy series of discussions about, what form this ought to take and what we ought to be doing. I think, you recognized, some time ago that there was an opportunity to clean up probably a number of well-meaning, things that have crept into the code over time that were actually making it more difficult for small businesses to operate, here in the city of Westminster. And while we certainly want the regulation we need to make sure that the city's interests are protected as businesses come into the city, at the same time, we had, some unnecessary things that, were blocking people's entry. And I think that, a couple of recent incidents have highlighted that. So, I'm glad we're taking this step and moving forward, and I appreciate your good work on doing this.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, of course, it wasn't me alone. Thank you.
Mr. President, there, again, I will just make a comment. I really appreciate everybody's hard work on this. I know, speaking to what Mr. Pecoraro said, I know that you had received several complaints, as did I. I know we had some conversations about that. And at one point we were going to take this to ECDC, but I think we felt like it was such a big lift that it made a lot of sense to go to work session. And I just really appreciate everybody's time and effort that they put into this, because I think it's we want to be a business friendly city, and we want to thrive in downtown. And I think this new ordinance helps achieve that. So that's it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes.
Just to echo a little bit, I think also what this shows, and Councilmember Hoff touched on it there, sort of the strength of the work sessions that we've been able to have over the last several months over the last year or two, I think, we are going back to work sessions again in a week or so to retackle some of the sign issues that we put to the side to take up this. But I think that, having these monthly work sessions has really enabled us to work through some of these text amendments and make the downtown more welcoming, which, has been a focus of what we'd like to do. So again, just to echo Councilmember Hoff, it takes a lot of work, and I think that these work sessions have been really beneficial to our working as a council.
So I'll make a couple comments if no one else has any. First, I want to take a minute and say thank you to Mr. Depot, Mr. Whitworth, and Ms. Imholz. They, in particular, put a tremendous amount of time and effort into getting us where we needed to be. Certainly, in those work sessions, we kind of hash things out, but you guys put the real rubber on the road when it comes to getting this done. I also want to comment just a little bit about kind of how we got here. Yes, some complaints, all of us, kind of struggling with things, but I think something that's important to be said, and, people do watch this and some people go back and watch it at a later date. For a number of years, Mr. Depot just was taking a beating at times from our business community. And what became obvious was it was not that he was trying to be difficult or not unwilling to work with business owners. He was hamstrung by our code. And we constantly were pushing him, hey, make things easier, be more business friendly. And he wanted to be those things and attempted to do those things, but was hamstrung by the code. So finally, we kind of reached almost, I guess, a breaking point, and we realized that the problem is the code. And that's our problem, not your problem. That's something that we're responsible for. I think you unfairly got thrown under the bus some by me personally at times. And I think this is going to give you the opportunity to show our business community, and I think it's already happening, how willing you are to help, and not just you, but staff, to help them get things done, to conduct business in a way that's, profitable and that lets them thrive in our downtown. So I think this is a much bigger deal than people probably realize, and I think it's going to have lasting generational impact for the health and welfare of this community. And again, the three of you put a tremendous amount of time and effort, energy into this. And I think Meredith also probably played a significant role as well. So I should mention her, not that I think she's watching, but
Never know.
you can take it back. So I just felt like I wanted to take a minute and say those things. This is a big deal, and it's exciting to me, and I know to all of my colleagues up here to take this step. And now let's get that business community rolling and get them making downtown and even the 140 corridor even that much better. But of course, this really applies to downtown to start with. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's get this thing officially introduced. I lost my place here. Okay. We'll move on to a vote. All in favor of introduction of ordinance number 2601, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, and the ordinance is introduced. We have no unfinished business that I'm aware of. Is there any unfinished business I'm missing? We have no new business that I'm aware of. Does anyone have any new business? Okay, hearing none, we will then go ahead and move on to departmental reports. I'll mention that Ms. Imholz is ill today. I think it happened throughout the course of the day. So unfortunately have Mr. Depot here to pinch hit. So Mr. Depot, the show is yours.
Thank you. We have two reports tonight, both planning and police department, but I do want to welcome Councilman Bayard. It's great gain for the city. It hurts me a little bit because he was planning and zoning commission. It's a great asset, especially because he did hold my position before me, which is always valuable. But congratulations and welcome. On April 14th, the Board of Zoning Appeals is scheduled to review for approval its final decision letter approving special exception trade school for the Carroll County Community College as heard and approved on March 3rd, 2026. On April 16th, the Planning and Zoning Commission is scheduled to hold a public hearing on annexation resolution 2603. This is annexation number 72, the Padme LLC, and for its recommendation to the Mayor and Common Council. Mayor and Common Council introduced the annexation resolution on February the 9th, 2026. This is for the new sheets. It is now up and operational, or will be on the 16th. They're also scheduled to review and forward its official report and recommendation to approve zoning map amendment ZMA 2401, The Willows, including plan development plan option 3 and architectural elevations option A as amended and option B to the Mayor and Common Council. On April 8th, the Historic District Commission discussed the unveiling of a commemorative plaque for the Historic Westminster Cemetery, and this is scheduled for April 19th at 2 p.m. They also reviewed facade improvement program applications for 59 West Main Street, 58 West Main Street, 143 West Main Street, 83 West Main Street, and 61 East Main Street, and also 2 Bond Street. So this is part of the facade improvement program. Of those, all but one obtained approval and is able to move forward with facade improvement program funding. And that's all. I'm sorry, that's all I have. Do you have any questions? Available, otherwise, Chief Price.
I'm the last one, right?
Yes. Okay.
Evening, thank you, and I want to welcome you, Councilmember Mayor, young HEC. I know we're gonna have a great relationship, so look forward to working with you. I just got one thing to highlight from this past reporting period. We were proud to attend and support the Fund Your Purpose annual Easter egg hunt, which was held on April 4th at City Park. I just want to thank Mr. Billy Live and his team over at Fund Your Purpose. It was an awesome event. Officers got to engage with a whole bunch of community members, and it just it highlights that strong sense of community, Mr. So I just wanted to thank them and just highlight that event. That's all I have to.
And with no questions, that completes departmental reports.
Thank you very much, Mr. Depot. Chief, thank you. This brings us to our final item on our agenda, which is citizens' comments, during which we invite the public to address the mayor and council on any issues related to tonight's agenda or any other city matters. For those not in attendance this evening, we welcome your comments via email at comments@westminstermd.gov. All email comments will be shared with the mayor and council. Please include your address and phone number with your comments. We will now invite comments from those present this evening. This is an opportunity for the public to share their thoughts with the mayor and council. Our role at this point is to listen to your comments and respond appropriately after consulting with staff and each other. Is there anyone here this evening who wishes to be heard?
Lindy? 195 West Main Street. I'd like to congratulate Tom Baird.
Thank you very much. Mr. Lansman.
Jay Lansman, candidate for sheriff in
name, address.
352 Wingfoot Drive in Westminster. So my name is Jay Lansman Jr. I'm a candidate for sheriff in 2026 in the upcoming Republican primary. I am not running just to get my name out there. I know that's a kind of a common theme that I keep hearing popping up, but 30 years in law enforcement, 26 and a half years with the Baltimore County Police Department, went from teenage cadet to colonel of operations. And when I retired in 2021, I joined the Westminster Police Department as a civilian. But my family's been in law enforcement for 90 years. So being the civilian in the corner doing grant management and policy review wasn't something I could see myself doing for 10, 15 years. But I will say, while I was there, I did work on a grant application with Mr. Depot. I believe we worked on that together for the downtown improvement, which we purchased cameras, crosswalk improvements. I think I got flagpoles down here included in that. But for a cop to go through all that, you're talking about challenging yourself and doing new things. Councilman Baird, that was one for me, writing a grant. And the administrator, Zimholz emailed me or texted me in April of 2022, said we were approved for the $100,000. I went back to work in sworn law enforcement at Towson University as their patrol commander for the fall 2022 semester. Later was promoted to their deputy chief of police. Department that is slightly, when fully staffed, supposed to be slightly larger than Westminster. We were never fully staffed while I was there. So while I was on campus, a lot of the things, criminal investigations, writing search warrants, arrest warrants, making arrests, directing traffic, I was doing all that stuff, muscles that I hadn't used in many years and things that I hadn't done in a lot of years. A full circle experience to do the work of the people who are out there doing it on the street. I think that's valuable experience to have as your next sheriff. In the summer of 2025, after commencements and high school graduations, I told Chief Herring that I was going to pursue this. And, he gave it his blessing. And I jumped into this race. I believe things happen for a reason. I believe accountability in government is important. The big raise the sheriff's supposed to get in his fourth term. I plan to donate $100,000 per year of my term to qualified nonprofits that support public safety, youth outreach, and victim services. That's my personal choice, my personal salary, just in alignment with my view on servant leadership. The other indicator that pushed me to get in at this point was endorsing other political candidates, running on a slate. That's all legal. I just believe that, the folks that made the TV show Law and Order got it right. Two separate but equally important groups. I believe you have to maintain separate and equal integrity of those two entities. They shouldn't be intertwined politically. It's just something I believe in. Again, not here to disparage anybody's service to this county. I just want the opportunity to execute servant leadership as your next sheriff. I appreciate your time here. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard this evening? Okay, that concludes our agenda and our meeting. Our next regular meeting will be Monday, April 27th, 2026.